Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Taylor, and on this corner of the internet we like to talk about books, fiber arts, and a little bit of lifestyle. Today it is that time of the month. It is time for a March TBR. So March is National Women's Month, and so this month I picked all books that are written by women authors. Some stuff about single women and feminism and all the good stuff that we love on this channel. So don't forget to give this video a big like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and let's get into the TBR. So the first book that I have is Parable of the Sower by Octavia E. Butler. So this book is about a climate crisis that happens in the United States in 2024. What? So a lot of people who love The Handmaid's Tale say that this is almost like a more accurate version of how the US might meet its downfall, I guess. So it's a climate crisis. The main character's name is Lauren. She's 15. They live in California. And it is about basically what happens in the midst of this climate crisis. So I'm excited to read this book. I'm also like a little bit scared, but like dystopian alternative future fiction is definitely some of my favorite, which I didn't realize I loved so much until I looked at my shelves and I was like, oh, there's a lot of that, isn't there? And I feel like this sort of fiction is kind of like a baby genre of lit fic and sci-fi almost. But let me know what you think. That's what I think. But let me know what you think. Next book is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas. Yes, I did finish Throne of Glass, and so I want to get to the second book in this series. Technically, this will be the third one that I'm reading since I started with Assassin's Blade. This is after what happens in the first book, and like I just don't know what I should say. I don't know what's a spoiler, what's not. These books have been out for a while, but I was not really expecting what the first book was. I don't know what I was expecting, but like not that, I guess. So yeah, let's see what happens next. Apparently there's a lot of vigilante shit that goes on in here, and I'm a fan of Taylor Swift, so I'm excited to read. That made no sense. Let's just keep going. Bunny by Mona Awad. I have read around 40 pages of this book in the past. Apparently this is like vibes, not really sure what's going on, unreliable narrator. There's a woman that I like watching on YouTube. It's like her favorite book of all time. She's like you finish it and then you go down deep dives in the internet and then you come back and you read it again, and I was like, that sounds like my kind of book. So really excited to read this. I've had this on my TBR for so long. I've only owned a physical copy of the book for a short period of time now, but I'm so excited to get to this book. It's definitely high on my priority list. The last three books I have are all nonfiction, and if you are a frequent viewer of this channel, you know that nonfiction books tend to be some of my slowest reads. I like putting them on here though because it puts them on my radar to make sure that I do get around to these. It's just hard because like in my brain it is very hard to binge a nonfiction book unless I am like super into it. I find memoirs to be quite bingeable, but at the same time I don't really like reading memoirs, so like I don't know how to explain that. I wish I was able to like tell you more about what that means in my brain, but I can't. So let's just hop into these. All About Love, New Visions by Bell Hooks. So this book asks the question, what is love? That is like the overarching question that we are asking in this book. What is love, and what is love in today's day and society? And a lot of people reference this book in their online discourse about love and dating and relationships, and I need to know what this book is about. I need to read. As I'm a lover girl at my heart, I love love. Even though I was like single on Valentine's Day, I love Valentine's Day to my core. I want to read all about love. The next book is The Lonely City by Olivia Lang. Adventures in the Art of Being Alone. So this is about a woman named Olivia who, it's more like memoir-esque. She moves to New York City in her mid-30s and she is basically like confronted with loneliness, but it's also like one of the most populated cities in the United States. And so she begins to explore the lonely city by way of art. And so she goes to different art museums. I actually tried reading this when I was in college after a breakup. Gosh, I feel like I'm always saying like, oh, I had a breakup and then this and then that. I've dated a lot in my life and I have gone through a lot of breakups and I've been very lonely. But it's nice that now in my mid-20s, I'm finally like, wow, I am so happy being me and doing my own thing. And I feel like this book, I checked it out of the library. I was probably 20 years old and I just don't think I really appreciated it for what I think this book is going to be. And maybe my expectations are too high, but like so there are like pictures. I think these are of the artists and stuff. And the font is actually really, really big. So I don't know, I'm really excited to read this book. I think loneliness is a really interesting topic that maybe we don't talk enough about in society, except when we're talking about like, the only time I've ever heard loneliness really talked about in online discourse is the male loneliness epidemic, or a discourse about like how we are lonely because our faces are always in our phones. We don't know how to connect with people. And yeah, we can beat that with a dead horse, but like, how do we as humans sit with our loneliness? How do we cope with loneliness? And I think those are important questions that maybe we need to ask ourselves, rather than just being like, a relationship will fix my loneliness. Because I will tell you, the loneliest I have ever felt was when I was in bad relationships. So I think that like, I don't know, learning more about loneliness and being alone, the art of being single and not having to answer to anyone, it is almost like a privilege that, you know, me as a woman, I don't have to get married. I don't have to do anything other than what I want to do. And so, yeah, sorry, that was a little bit of a tangent. But yeah, Loneliest City by Olivia Lang. And then the last book is All the Single Ladies by Rebecca Traister. I got this book a long time ago. It basically just talks about single women through the ages and how single women have helped change history. And so on the back it says, today only around 20% of Americans between the ages of 18 and 29 are wed, compared to the nearly 60% in 1960, which I think is so interesting. That is a huge discrepancy. And I read about 40 pages of this book when I first got it a couple years ago, and I learned so much just in those 40 pages. Like, did you know that we had to go to the Supreme Court not once but twice for single women to have access to birth control? Because the first time it was approved in the United States, it was only approved for married women with children. And then they had to go back to the Supreme Court, all the way to the biggest court in the land, for single women to have access to birth control. I'm excited to read this book. I think that it's so nice to hear the stories of women who stayed single for one reason or another. And it talks a little bit in the book. I remember in the first part of the book, there's a woman who just like chooses not to get married, but everyone kind of knows. She was like a socialite or an actress, someone who was famous, but she always had like lavish love affairs. And she was like, why should I just pick one man? I mean, come on. So I'm excited to read All the Single Ladies by Rebecca Traister and read more stories about single women and how they've changed the course of history. So that is everything I have today for my March TBR. It isn't quite as expansive as my February TBR. I need to go read more books on my TBR because I'm trying to do a 24-hour reading challenge. But yeah, thank you so much for watching this and coming along with me today. Let me know if any of these books caught your interest. And just so you know, my Goodreads is always linked down below. You can tell what I'm reading. I am obsessive about updating that all the time. So if you want to follow me on Goodreads, we can be friends. I would love that. Now, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a big like. I would love to have you in our little internet community, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!